Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you so much for joining for another video as we have some news coming from the Seattle Seahawks as they are signing Aldon Smith to a one-year deal. Now, Aldon Smith, he recently played with the Dallas Cowboys last year. They opted to let him go. And so now he's getting another chance with the Seahawks, but there's so much to the whole Aldon Smith story. So I'll go ahead and give you a run through of Aldon Smith's career. So let's start with going back to the 2011 season when he was drafted in the first round by the San Francisco 49ers coming out of college. Aldon Smith had all the potential in the world and all the talent to match that. In his first season, he had 14 sacks for the 49ers. And in his second season, he made his first Pro Bowl, which turned out to be his only Pro Bowl, but he had 19 and a half sacks. So first 2 years in the league, he's already killing it in terms of production, out there getting after the quarterback, showing that explosiveness, the raw talent that they said. The reason why he was drafted in the first round, he definitely right off the bat hit the ground running. And so then during that 2012 season, he also ran into a little bit of trouble. He was first arrested on suspicion of DUI at Miami Beach, and his charge was eventually reduced to reckless driving after he completed his first time DUI offenders program. And so fast forward from January to June 30th, and he got stabbed twice while trying to break up a fight that took place at a party at his home near San Jose, California. Two other people suffered gunshot wounds. And so fast forward to 2013. Now, production-wise, in 2013, his sacks dropped off to 8.5, which is still, a good amount, considering that he only got to play in 8 games. That's a very good amount on top of that. So that's more than a sack per game. So he's still balling, but at this point, all the off the field issues are starting to really add up. He was involved in a single car incident in September 20th of 2013, and he was arrested on suspicion of DUI and marijuana possession. He voluntarily entered the rehab facility, and the 49ers placed him on indefinite leave. October 9th, 2013, Santa Clara District Attorney's Office filed against Smith 3 felony charges of possession of an assault weapon stemming from the 2012 house party incident and civil lawsuits accusing Smith of shooting into the air and owning illegal firearms. So you would think that the incidents would start to slow down, but around October 29th, Smith surrendered to authorities in advance of the November 12th court date to face felony weapons charges, and 2 days later, the 49ers activated Smith to the 53-man roster from the non-football injury list 2 days after he turned himself into the Santa Clara County authorities as he faced weapons charges. So not even a month after that, is when he pleaded not guilty to 3 felony courts of illegal possession of an assault weapon, and his next court appearance was scheduled for January the 15th. So now we're going to fast forward a couple months to April 13th of 2014. So 2014, before we get to that, production-wise in 2014, he got to play in 6 games, only had 2 sacks. At this point, obviously he has a lot of stuff going on off the field, so he's not able to produce the same type of production, nor is he, really being fully a part of the team. So he would end up playing his last season in 2015 for the Oakland Raiders, and where he accounted for just 3.5 sacks and played in 7 games. That being said, he would be suspended really until the 2020 season, which was last year, when Jerry Jones decided to go ahead and roll the dice and bring him in for the Cowboys, in which he had 5 sacks. And early on, he looked like the Aldon Smith of old. But then obviously you spend so much time away from the game, it's going to catch up to you. At some point, you're going to get fatigued throughout the season. And so that's probably what just happened when it came to his production. But he still showed signs of the guy that he used to be. In terms of off the field now, going back to the April 13th incident in 2014, he was arrested and booked for investigation of making false bomb threats at the LA International Airport. He was in custody after becoming agitated and being randomly chosen to undergo a second TSA screening. And so a couple days later, ESPN reported the 49ers will suspend Smith at the start of the 2014 NFL season. And so we know how that goes. And so, fast forward all of those incidents. And as you can see, there was quite a good amount of incidents that he was involved in throughout the league. I'll stop there, but the list continues to go on. But all that being said, he seems like someone that at this point, at least from what he looked like last year with the Cowboys, and I'm hoping that this is really the case, is that he's someone that really understands that he made a lot of mistakes in the past, but he's looking to move on from that and be just happy to be in the NFL again, doing what he loves, playing football. For some guys, that's enough to really keep them, or at least to give them hope to continue to fight against some of these issues that he had to deal with throughout that time. I mean, that's definitely a lot, and it cost him a lot of football. You can't help but think of Josh Gordon, in which that would be a great comparison, because the Seattle Seahawks, after the Patriots moved on from Josh Gordon, the Seahawks were that team that picked him up. So it only makes sense that the team, the Seahawks, they'd be willing to give a guy like Aldon Smith a chance to see what he can do on a one-year deal. And so hopefully this will work out for Aldon, and he'll be able to add some production, but just staying out of trouble will also be really big for him as well. And I'm hoping for the best for him. I'd love to see him go out there and succeed. Yeah, it's safe to say the Seahawks are definitely a team that they value bringing in men and helping develop them, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that aspect of it. In terms of career production that they're getting from Aldon Smith, although there's obviously that gap from 2015 to 2020, but throughout his career, the guy has had a total of, in 53 games, he has recorded a total of 52 and a half sacks. So that is definitely nothing to sneeze at by any means. And even though he's only made the Pro Bowl once, he's definitely a Pro Bowl caliber player. If you can get him in and obviously get him back up to shape and just utilize him and be smart with a guy like Aldon Smith, really. But the fact that they were willing to give him a chance, I'm happy about that. And I'm sure that Aldon Smith is going to do his best to make sure that he takes advantage of that. And we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, with guys like Matthew Stafford in the division now, obviously, whoever the 49ers drafted quarterback, but they still got Jimmy G, Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Having more pass rushers in the division is going to be big for the Seahawks. I know the Seahawks have been relatively quiet, with the exception of a couple trades here and there, but in terms of making any free agency splashes, they haven't necessarily made one. I'm not going to call this a free splash by any means, but this is one of those moves that if it works out, like that small chance that he's able to come out there and maybe give them an 8.5 sack season or something like that, hey, you look back on this and you're like, hey, this was a smart move by the Seahawks. So we'll see how it plays out. And as always, as more news continues to drop, you can be sure to find it here. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and talk with you guys next time.